Andrew Carruthers here, Education Director for Sam Villa. Today we want to share with you a fun texturizing technique that works really incredibly well for short hair, especially short, fine hair that you have a hard time getting detailed texture in. You guys might recognize my friend Dan here from another video we did on another texturizing technique, really gauged towards the same texture, because he has exactly what we fight with a lot of times in the salon. He's got very, very fine blonde hair. And that kind of fine blonde hair, if we come in and we create lots of little tiny holes, it doesn't show texture, it just gets more and more diffused. So this is a technique that you can use to get really defined texture. It's called the X pattern texture. Our weapon of choice today is going to be our signature series Swivel Shear. And the reason for that is it's going to allow me to get into multiple different hand positions without tweaking my wrist at all. And I don't know about you guys, but if you've been behind the chair for more than 5-10 years at this point, you know that this part of our body is really, really important and takes a lot of stress. So anything I can do to take that stress off, I'm going to do. I'm also going to use a black long cutting comb, and black because he's got blonde hair, it's going to help give a little contrast. So the first thing that we're going to do to set this up is we're just going to comb all the hair forward towards the forehead. We're going to take our shear and we're going to take it from this position and we're going to allow it to come forward, and you can see it's diagonal to the grain of the hair. I'm going to come from one side, I'm going to put the shear in, and I'm just going to do a talking motion as I come across the head, forming my first X. I'm going to come back just behind that and again create another X. Doing this on wet hair will give you a more defined texture. Doing it on dry hair is just going to soften the texture more. Again, I'm going to come here and come across. Now, you can see I just did 3 so far. Now what we want to do is we want to return that back to being combed just straight forward. So watch what we can do with the swivel shear. Instead of bending the wrist, we can allow the shear to come back towards me, and you can see my wrist is still in a neutral position. So again, less stress on my hands. So now we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to come through here, and we're just going to use that little bit of talking motion as we come across the top of the head. And what we're doing is we're creating this X pattern with the lines. Now what that's going to do is create really specific peaks and valleys within the texture rather than coming in and point cutting a bunch of little holes. So even wet, you can start to see some of that texture come out of there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put down my tools for a moment. I'm going to blow dry Dan's hair so now you guys can see the finished result and how nice that texture looks because of how strong those lines are and how they cross over. So I'm going to grab our professional Ionic blow dryer, add just a touch of Redken Fashion Wave 07, and get him all blow dried for you. All right, so as we're finishing up this blow dry, you can start to see the texture that we've developed through that X pattern texturizing. If I really kind of show you here, you can actually see some of the lines that we've created coming through that haircut. And with Dan's texture, we need to be willing to be that dramatic with it and leave those lines intact. Because Dan doesn't wear his hair pressed down like this, where you're actually going to see those lines. He wears his hair messed up, maybe actually popped up a little bit. And if I went through and blended those lines together, we would lose all of the texture that we got from that X pattern texturizing technique. So again, start with wet if you want really dramatic, or you can do it on dry hair if you want it a little bit softer. Comb all that hair forward, start in one corner, use a talking motion with the shear, crossing. You can do 3, 4, 5 times even. It depends on how dramatic you want the texture. Actually, the less sections you take, the more dramatic the texture is going to be because it's going to be more blocky. So you can take as many or as little sections as you want, and then you come back and cross over diagonally the opposite direction after you've recombed the hair forward into place. This works excellent for men's haircut. It also works fantastic for women's haircuts that are on the shorter side. If it gets too long, sometimes you feel like you get a little tangled up in it. So you'll have to find your balance of where the short and long is, where this technique works best. We hope you enjoyed the technique. We challenge you to try this on your next client. Maybe even try it on a doll head first to get the feel of it. Thanks again for watching. I'm Andrew Carruthers, Education Director for Sam Via.